Hello, everybody. Welcome to the morning show. We're coming to you today on WJOP-LP Newburyport at FM 96.3 on Channel 9 and on Newburyport Community Media's YouTube channel at ncmhub.org. I'm your host, Mary Jacobsen, and I'm just so happy this morning to welcome Newburyport Adult and Community Education's new director, Patty St. John. She's here to talk about their spring offerings, and she's brought, lucky for us, two teachers of very interesting sounding classes along with her. But first, Patty, welcome. Thanks so much for taking time to visit the morning show.
Thank you very much for having us. It's great to have this opportunity, so I really appreciate it.
Well, it's my pleasure. We also have Janet Huetteman is here. She's a professor of marketing by day, and as she says, she's a dancer anytime she can. Janet has been dancing for the last 20 years in a variety of styles, including Latin, hip-hop, modern, and belly dance. She combines these styles in dance fusion, and she's very much looking forward to sharing the fun with students in her upcoming adult ed class. Janet, thanks for visiting. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And Lisa Powis is here. She's been teaching beginning and advanced genealogy classes with adult ed for the last 10 years. She's also a physical therapist with a master's degree in biomechanics, although she's not currently practicing in that field. She loves teaching, and she feels fortunate to have met many wonderful people over the years of her teaching. Her goal is to help students solve their genealogical mysteries in a thoughtful and organized way by teaching them how to navigate available resources. Lisa, thanks so much for visiting us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
My pleasure. Well, Patty, let's start with you. You're relatively new to the director's role. Please tell us about your launch. What's been challenging? What's been fun?
Oh, it's all been fun.
Oh, good. Glad to hear
If
it.
it's not fun, don't do it, right?
That's a good philosophy.
Well, it's been about 4 months now, not even 4 months, so that I've been director.
Yeah.
And I'm so pleased to be doing it. I've been in the community for many years. I did work at the Chamber of Commerce for 17 years, a little hiatus from that with doing some other positions before joining this in January officially. So our mission is to offer lifelong learning programs for anyone at any age. So we really want to have that word get out there and increase the marketing. So one of my main initiatives is to do that. So we're doing much more social media, Instagram, Facebook, and more press releases, programs like this, for which I'm very grateful. So thank you again.
Oh, always welcome.
Always welcome. One of the greatest things about the program is that there are so many classes that are very, very diverse. And one of my goals is really to expand the offerings in terms of diversity and the number of programs. One of the most important things that I do want people to know, and I need to dispel this notion that some folks think that our adult ed programs, and also in other communities, you know, Cambridge Center for Adult Ed, Brookline, et cetera, a lot of communities have it, is that some think that all the programs are just for adults, perhaps over 60, or the seniors, and I just carefully say that, but for seniors or retirees, and they hear that word, and it's not. It's for folks of any age. We have students that are 20. Last night we had a kayaking class. There were two 13-year-olds.
Oh, great.
And I applaud No, it was the boating safety with
Oh,
Coast
right.
Guard.
Yes.
And I applaud them for learning that, you know, when they're so young. So we have 13-year-olds from all the way up. It runs the gamut. So that's very important to me.
Yes.
You do not have to live or work in Newburyport to take classes. The same with teaching. We have teachers from Haverhill. We have students from Topsfield, from Methuen, some of our ESL students from Southern New Hampshire. So it really, really runs the gamut. And to your point about Zoom, we've had people across the country in Memphis and California take some of the classes because it was on Zoom.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's interesting. So adult is a very inclusive term.
Exactly.
No one is excluded.
Exactly. Right. And that's what we love. So in terms of getting more classes, again, like I said, that would appeal even to a much broader audience. That's really one of my big goals.
Right.
challenges, juggling it all.
I'll
I
bet.
like to think that we're small but mighty. And our office it's 1.5 people.
Okay.
So it's been non-stop, and also because of the cycles of the school sessions,
Yeah.
we went from winter that is jam-packed
Mhm.
right into spring. So we're planning winter while we're doing spring, and
Yeah.
it's exciting, but it's just sometimes my brain wants to explode.
Well, I'm sure because you always have to be planning the next season out. Or
Right, a
sometimes
few
I imagine
months.
more than one season because people are busy.
Right.
So,
exactly. And
Yeah.
planning the locations, and we can't be at the Knock Middle School in the summer, so we
Right.
look for different locations. And Janet teaches the high school studio, so
Right.
and Congregational Church Lisa is at.
right.
So there's really a lot of planning.
I'm sure.
And
Yeah.
one more thing is definitely on my agenda is fundraising
Mhm.
for sure.
Mhm.
And just to touch base on the structure, a
Sure.
lot of people also don't know our structure. We are not part of the city. We
Right.
operate under the auspices of the school system,
Right.
but we are not part. So we are not a line item. We receive no funding. So the vast majority of our revenue comes from classes.
Mhm.
So that really sustains us. And we do have grants from local organizations, for which we're grateful, because that really helps drive our organization to help grow it.
Yeah.
So, and we have friends,
Mhm.
donors who,
Mhm.
once a year we usually do a
Mhm.
annual appeal.
Yeah.
So, and then also one other thing to help alleviate the cost of our lovely catalog that we do 3 times a year. That is very expensive. It's our greatest cost. We will be starting out advertising in that. So,
Oh, okay. Good.
so
to,
anyone who's interested, I'll just
Good
put
to
that
know.
out there. Yes,
Yeah.
for that fall catalog.
Wonderful.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's
And you
fine.
always have great artwork, I must say, because I'm on the mailing list. I get the catalog,
Oh.
and you always have beautiful artwork for the cover.
Thank you for
So,
saying that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. I'm glad you noticed it.
Yeah,
Nice.
absolutely. Well, thank you for
Nice.
that, Patty, and thank you
Yeah.
for taking on the challenge. And
Yep, it
you
is,
know,
but
it's-
I'm ready for the challenge.
well, you have a vision. That's
do.
really great.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about a couple of the very interesting sounding upcoming courses. Lisa, Powis, maybe we'll start with you. I'd love to learn about your classes in genealogy. First, could you please help us understand what genealogy covers? I have what I'm sure is a very limited understanding. I know there's more to it than doing a family tree, but that's my current understanding of it. So help us expand the definition of what genealogy covers. How would you define it?
Thanks. That's a great question. I do always ask the students what their goals are in
Yeah.
taking the class, because many they're taking an upcoming trip to
Oh,
Ireland or we've
yeah.
had one go to the Azores to research family, and so they want just to have a little bit of their ducks in order before they make a trip.
Sure.
Others are solving, very specific problems. So historically, genealogy was that ancestral descent,
Yes.
trying to prove our heraldry way back when, and it was just following the line of parents, grandparents, straight back. We really talk a lot about family history as well, and sort of fleshing out the stories on the tree and looking at the broader family structure. Often in immigrant groups, I always say you can't study one in isolation, because really our families immigrated in groups. And so
Yeah.
one older sibling story helps explain the younger one. So it really is a jigsaw puzzle. It's peeling back the onion. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. I try to say to the students, for you, solving something for one generation could be adequate and you're happy with your goals. So
Yeah.
it's very much to the individual. I like to send out an email before a class begins to get a sense of what people want to do, so that we can guide that class as it proceeds.
Well, thank you for that expanded definition. I appreciate it. I'm curious to find out, Lisa, what got you yourself interested in genealogy, and what do you love about it?
Well, I was the oldest granddaughter on a family of my mother's who was from northern Italy, and my father's family was from southern Italy. And I was fortunate when I was young to know 2 great-grandfathers and 2 grandfathers and 1 grandmother for a short time. And I do remember asking the questions as a little girl, and I often made up stories in my mind of these people, and I'm a visual learner, so I had real visions of all this. And my husband and I, on our honeymoon, went back to one of the villages that my mom's father's family came from in northern Italy, Vittorio Veneto, near Venice. And there was such an incredible sense of being home.
Oh, yeah.
And such an incredible sense of history and belonging.
Yeah.
And that started the bug.
Interesting.
And then I will just mention this, marrying my husband, who was Slovakian, Russian, English, and possibly Welsh. His parents were still living, and his father had sort of been what the family considers a World War II hero.
Okay.
And so we were fortunate that he was alive to start asking those questions. And so a family that was so very different from my own, that got me started.
Wow, that's really interesting. Thank you for that story. Well, I'm intrigued by the phrase you used, genealogical mysteries, and I was hoping you might give us an example of what a genealogical mystery that you've helped somebody solve might be.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I really respect the privacy of people. I try to tell them because people are really sharing a lot that might be. But I'm trying to think quickly of something
Maybe just the kind of thing.
Yeah, the kind of things. Trying to find the verification in records of a story that was told.
Yeah.
Trying to see if there's a paper trail for something that was told.
Absolutely. Which can make all the difference between something that registers as an authentic part of your family's history or something that maybe is we'll use the word fable, perhaps.
Exactly.
A family legend.
That's exactly true. Yes. In my family, all of the stories, except for one so far, have been corroborated by, so all of the legends have been backed up by data.
Yeah.
And so it was fun for me to see that and then flesh out that stories more. But there really have been very dramatic stories over the years.
I'll bet. And you can help people figure out how to discern whether they're factual, or whether they're legends. So, what do you anticipate or hope that students will enjoy the most about the class, or what will they take away from it?
One of the things that I enjoy the most is there's so much information out there.
Yeah.
Electronically as well as materials. So I really like to help them find a way through that material, how to discern what's good, what's not, and to be organized in their pursuit and to realize that they can do it. Very often beginners think, oh, I can't get this, so it must be me. There must be a problem. But to understand that these databases don't have all the information. And so just to find their comfort zone of how much they want to research, how much time they want to spend. I always give a couple disclaimers at the start of a class that let folks know at home it might be takeout for the next 5 weeks while you're taking this class because it can become very addictive. So,
great.
One thing leads to another. So
it does.
You just want to keep moving forward.
The breadcrumbs.
In fact, many people have taken the class multiple times. I think
interesting.
some have taken it 6 times, and I say, I must either be a really bad teacher or but I think that they like to just stay on task, and they might take the class to research maternal side, then take it again, paternal side.
Sure, I'm sure once you get started and you are solving family mysteries, I'm sure it's alluring to continue because every family goes, you can follow that trail pretty far back once you know how.
Yes.
And I think what I'm taking from you, Lisa, is, in the age of the internet, there's so much out there, it can be overwhelming. And some of it's credible and some of it's not. And so you're a tour guide.
That's a very good description.
Into family history.
Yes,
and that is really great. And I can understand why people would come back.
Actually, I want to take your class.
Exactly.
You just expanded your enrollment. Well, I'm sorry, Patty, were you going to say something?
I was just going to say, teaching for 10 years with adult ed does not mean that you're a bad teacher. I know.
I think quite the opposite.
Right. And we like to do evaluation forms. I like to give students just to see what they love or what can maybe be tweaked. And they're always fabulous and wonderful teacher, I hear, and one who's just very generous of spirit, which I thought was...
what a great
I know,
phrase.
no, I'm full kind
Yeah.
and generous in spirit, so you're not going anywhere. No.
Oh, plus just the way that you talk about it with conviction and passion and engagement, it's very clear that, you'd be an excellent tour guide. Well, Janet, let's talk about dance fusion. I'm curious to find out, how is it similar to or different from other styles of dance, and how did you become interested in it?
Wow, that's a really good question. So it's different in the sense that, so take Zumba, for instance, which is very popular. That's, more jazzercisey, I think.
Yes, fair enough.
Whereas this is a fusion of different types of dance. So you will learn different types of dance steps. So belly dance movements, hip hop movements, we do Latin. So we choose, we choose songs that are popular, that are fun, and that's the most important part of this, is that it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's very accessible. It's not too complicated. It's choreographed. I do choreograph every piece. We do over an hour, about 15 songs.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
And it starts with a warm up, and then we increasingly get, so it's a workout.
You'll be sweating by the end.
Yeah, you'll be sweating. It's great for the core because we do a lot of stuff in the core. And then the other thing is that the movements are designed to open up what we call the chakras, the energy centers.
Oh, yeah.
So you end up feeling really good at the end of the hour because you're relieving a lot of tension, especially in those places where we tend to hold it.
Okay.
So it's it's a lot of fun. And to Patty's point, I have a college age student in my class, all the way, up. Yeah. So it's definitely, it shouldn't be off-putting to anyone, even if you've never danced before. And, I do some basic instruction, but basically you're following along and we're dancing. So yeah.
So anybody, regardless of whether you have any background in dance whatsoever, you'll get a good workout, you'll open your chakras, and you'll have a lot of fun.
Exactly.
And it sounds like there's a lot of variety then in the songs that you choose and the styles and the way you combine them.
From Tina Turner to...
Okay, you have me.
Yeah. Who doesn't like Tina, right?
Prince and Bruno Mars. And,
the classics.
Harry Styles. So it goes from back to forward, today.
So some of your fun is you have to find the music on. You have to check it out.
So you get into the frame where you listening to the radio in the car or something, you're like, oh, I got to do that song.
Yeah.
But I also tell the students, if you have something that you want me to choreograph, I will work it in.
Oh, interesting.
Right?
Okay, good offer to put out there. Well, I think dance is a great way to get exercise. I myself take tap dancing because it's the only form of exercise that I've ever done that doesn't bore me to tears, honestly. Because it's music, it's choreographed, and it's loud. Now that's tap, not necessarily tap fusion.
That's how I got started. I've been dancing for well over 20 years, and I used to dance 2 hours a day. Wow. Which is, I was just like a sponge, learning everything. And I really have to, shout out to the woman who owned the studio in Connecticut where I used to dance, and she'd bring instructors from the city and were amazing. So everything from tap to, Broadway, and we did ballet, and belly dance was what I gravitated to, hip hop and Latin, and those are my favorites, and those are what I built into the dance routines.
Well, it sounds like so much fun.
It is.
And if somebody were to ask you then, well, what will I take away from your class, or how will I benefit the most from it? What would you say?
Oh gosh, I think there's a real mind-body connection when you dance. And so, I like to think, I know at least from my experience, it wasn't only great for me physically. It keeps you young on a spiritual level too. It's very opening. I've seen a lot of change over the years of the women who I've danced with over these years. And I don't know, there's something about dance that gives you that confidence, and it opens you up. And, my students will come in and they're a little bit, stiff or I remember when I first started, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm embarrassed, right? And you just you lose all that because
Yeah.
you're just having fun and it's a confidence builder too.
Right.
Well, that's a great point to make. I think the word exhilarating comes to mind too, which is all too rare a feeling that we have in life.
Right.
So I think anything that we can
It's
find
joyful.
joyful,
Yeah.
right? Absolutely. So it's a win-win-win-win-win.
It is. It definitely is.
Well, thank you for those description. Let's go back to you, Patty, because I was hoping that at this point you could tell us some of the other highlights of the spring semester.
Well, we're actually about halfway through the spring semester. But one of our popular classes, and it just started last year, I think I mentioned, is fungi exploration.
Very popular topic these days.
Oh my gosh, the class always sells out. It's
Yeah.
so interesting, and it's a new class, so people like the diversity. And there's a new one that pops up, like dance. And Janet, this is the first, I think, the second session that you're teaching, and
second one.
it really
Yep.
nearly filled up. So
Yeah.
so it's wonderful. But fungi is always popular, and it's outside, and this teacher, she's wonderful. She's so knowledgeable. She's from Czechoslovakia, and it's just wonderful to listen to her. So that's always very exciting. We have another one, Enneagrams of Relationships, that does start next week.
Okay.
And fungi also is the 20th of May.
All right. So coming up soon. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. And everything is online too. If you go to newburyportadulted.org, all of the classes are there.
Yeah.
This goes out usually a week before, or excuse me, a month before classes start. So it's already underway. But there is a class she started in the last year as well called Enneagrams of Relationships that I find interesting. She discusses there are 9 personality types, and you learn what your personality type is, because if somebody doesn't understand you in communications, it's helpful to you to know what your type is and what the other person's type is, so you can understand what makes them tick. And why are we communicating, and how can we change our ways of communicating, so you sort of break that barrier. And it's really know thyself as well. So it's just very interesting, and that's sort of in a mind, body, spirit category, where we have the nature with fungi, and then technology, outsmart your smartphone. That's
I saw that. What a great title.
I know, isn't that great?
Because often I
know.
feel like smartphone 1, me 0.
right, I know. And he's been teaching that for many, many years too, Tomas. And that one usually fills up as well. I mean, technology changes so quickly. You get a brand new iPhone. I mean, that's all I've ever had. I'm like, okay, wait, how come I can't swipe this way? Where are my photos? And
by the time you figure out how to make a phone call, it's outdated.
Right, so you get a new phone. Exactly. So that one's always interesting. Let me cheat over here. Things I wanted to say. What?
Gift certificates.
Oh, yes, I will mention that. I'm going to mention one more class. Vintage radio repair, which is very interesting. Yes, and that gentleman came to us. I love when people come to us, because I will say, I will assess and look at and talk to anybody with any class proposal
Good to know.
They give to us. Anything. So if anybody's interested, and if they have their passion or interest, and just contact me. Because you never know. I mean, we've gotten proposals, and Vicki and I thought, I don't know about that, and it would sell out. And others we thought, that would be great, and we get a few people. So anything, I'm open to anything in the universe, any idea. So vintage radio repair, very interesting. Definitely appeal to a new segment of folks that may be their hobby, or they love to tinker.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And they're sharing their interest and passion and hobby, and it harkens you back to the days of the old RCA Victor and some of the older radios. But he's wonderful. His background is in high tech and fascinating, and I have no idea what he's talking about. But he also teaches. I think he does astrophysical discoveries, and for radio astronomy, I think he does.
So this is a Renaissance person.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I call him. Exactly. So he just put a lot of time into learning, and loves learning and tinkering. And so those few are definitely good classes that we have.
Well, that sounds great. It strikes me that I think that pretty much any interest that human beings have does have a community attached to it, but you have to find them.
Exactly.
And I think, so you bring that interest to adult and community ed, and you may be able to locate your community there, which may just have been waiting for someone to finally teach you how to fix your vintage radio.
Exactly.
So there's a power to, it's a community building endeavor as well.
It
So-
allows you to find your tribe, you know, and
That's
there's just
right.
a sense of
That's right.
socialization
Right.
that's part of Newburyport Adult Ed, bringing people together
Absolutely.
who share your passion. And, you know, you make friends,
Absolutely.
but Pilates just,
That's
you know,
right.
sitting next to the same person every week, completely doing the wrong moves. But you laugh and make friends. And it's just,
Right.
all of that is part of it as well. And
Right.
people are more engaged in the community when they, I mean,
Right.
these are facts, just things that I've read. They're more engaged in the community. They vote more. So there's all this big picture, all these big picture benefits from adult education. And people are motivated. They don't have to go to school or classes. They are doing it because they're self-motivated.
That's right.
And to your point about dancing, all the different ages, when I think of dance, you know, I would be nervous going in because I feel like you're revealing yourself. You know, and folks they're just a little afraid. Some are just wild and out there, but others might be, oh my God, these dance moves, and you sort of let yourself go. You know that expression, right? Dance like nobody's watching.
And
right,
by the
that's
way,
right.
nobody is. Like I say,
Yeah.
you can't really look at one person.
Right.
You're looking at yourself, right?
Right.
You're-
Right.
So nobody is, and it's a judgment-free zone. And
Judgment-free
we're-
zone. That's a good way to
it's-
put it.
Right. And a teacher who's embracing them and encouraging
Right.
that, and right, like Planet Fitness, right? Judgment free zone.
Yeah, I like that. Well, it sounds wonderful. Any chance, Patty, we could get a sneak peek into summer?
Well, fungi, of course. I'm sorry, I keep mentioning that because that's what it is.
Well, but there really is a tremendous amount of interest in that area right now.
Absolutely. And
So-
outdoors and nature, people love that.
Yeah.
But also Writer's Workshop. That's been
Okay.
running for years with Elizabeth Barrett. That is a shortened session because, of course, it's 4 weeks for the summer, but that will run. That's very popular. Tarot cards, learning the tarot. That's always very interesting as too. So that definitely will be on the docket.
Okay.
And then there's the part of adult ed, which is our lyceum classes.
Yes.
They're usually more during the day, and they are mostly retirees who are available, and there's discussions of literature and social issues.
Yeah.
So they're laid back and casual, but they're very, you know, deep intellectual conversations, and so that it's really, again, it's a mix. So let me cheat again. So those things are happening. You know what? That's all I'm going to tell you now, because you know what? I want y'all to visit NewburyportAdultEd.org.
There you go. You'll find it. All of the
Or follow you on
information.
social media.
Yes, please do. We're on Instagram, Facebook. Like I said, that's where we can, you know, you can get the information, even if the class is canceled, or, you know, we're trying to push as much information as we can out there. So
Yeah.
And I'll just mention this real quick. They do give gift certificates, and we've had
thank
some
you.
of our students receive gift certificates from their children,
Yeah.
their spouses, and they have just been so tickled pink to get, you know, this
Right.
gift and to take the class. And so that's been really nice to see people receive gift certificates. So.
yeah.
Mother's Day is almost here.
Yes.
Father's Day is coming.
Exactly. I'm
Everyone has a
promoting
birthday.
that. Exactly. Flowers
Thanks
are
for that
candy and
reminder.
nice, but they don't last.
It's
Lifelong
true.
learning does.
That's right.
So
When
That's
you
right.
learn, nobody can take it away.
no,
from you.
absolutely.
That's right.
Right.
Well, it sounds just wonderful. And it's been so much fun to talk to you all about it. And thank you so much for taking time to come to the morning show and teach us about all the wonderful things, and also to help us understand better what a genealogical mystery is and how it can be solved with a good tour guide, and what dance fusion is and how much fun it can be, joyful and exhilarating, and also what a community building powerhouse Newburyport Adult and Community Education is. So thank you all for
Absolutely.
that. It's been really fun to have you here. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We really appreciate the invitation and the opportunity to bring in a couple of teachers. So
Oh, it's been
hopefully-
really fun to talk to you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Well, that's it for today, everybody. Please join us again next week at 9 a.m. on Thursday for the morning show. Special announcement, next week, May 18th, we'll be featuring interviews with several of the children who are acting in current productions of Anna Smulowitz's play, Terrorism, Children of the Holocaust. We recorded this show earlier this month, and I promise you, you will be amazed and inspired by these children. They will give you hope. And if you've never had the opportunity to see Anna's play, on May 15th, it will be performed at the Firehouse Center for the Arts at 7 p.m. And for tickets, go to firehouse.org. You know, it strikes me that in this time of a very disturbing increase in anti-Semitism, terrorism, Anna's play has been described by the former director of the New England chapter of the Anti-Defamation League, and I'm quoting now, as one of the most powerful tools I have seen to eradicate hate. Educators and especially social studies teachers may be especially interested in checking out this production since arrangements can be made to bring the play to your school. So thank you, everybody. Be well. Take care. See you next week on Thursday at 9 for the morning show. Till then, be well, dance, and solve your genealogical mysteries. Thank you. Bye-bye.